Hi, I'm Steve from Foiling Magazine. I'm here with Sylvan from Takuma, and I'm really excited about all the new products you've been showing us. And so let's share them with the Foiling Magazine crowd. And I'd love to start with what's happening with the Kujira here.
Well, the Kojira is now well known worldwide and is definitely a favorite for a lot of people for many reasons. Everything Takuma is really coming from our DNA is designing foils. So what people do, well, they're looking for glides, and we've been focusing really on the glide. That's one point. Now there's also, we design foils which would say very advanced, but small little details such as the winglets will allow you to have anyone riding a very extreme foil. So that's one point. Now there is a killer product that we just launched now in the USA and worldwide. People have been waiting for it for almost a year and a half. The carbon mast that comes in two different sizes, 75 and 85 centimeters. Recommend definitely to people to don't go exclusively for the carbon mast, but to take a mast set, because we have a very specific, as we mentioned earlier, fuselage, different attachments, M8 screws versus the M6 that we had before to give more stiffness. And yeah, so it took a long time to work on it because we were looking for this very specific stiffness that we're all looking for in foiling, right?
And I see you've got a tapered design here, but it's still very stiff, and it looks still fairly narrow, so it's going to have good top-end speed. And
yeah, it's as always, Takuma, we really come from the wave riding originally. That's really part deeply in our DNA. And so you definitely have a lot of speed, but what we've been looking for is how, when you do curves, if you can do a great product for wave riding, then anyone would be able to use it, versus if I go really specifically on R&D on the race machine, they won't be that accessible. So right. The point has been to a place like here, we are here in beautiful Hood River. It's a great place to test current, chops, gusty winds. You kind of have the best and the worst.
Right, yeah.
And yeah, so it's no spin out, really a great glide. And it changes, the rider will be able to give the right energy to the foil, and it does change your foil. So make it more alert, I would say.
Well, it's a legendary foil, and I think with the M8s and the new carbon fiber mast, it just, it makes it even better, I think. So exciting, yeah. So let's talk a little about the wings back here.
Sure. So the wings, that's been a big thing. It took us some time to finally get it in production, and now it just arrived months ago in the US and around the world. So that's the RS Wing that goes from 2.8 up to 7.2. So we've got all sizes in between. Interesting features, if I start
with... Well, the first thing I see is the very unique handle system.
You're right, very unique handle system. Well,
kind of like an ergonomic shape, really.
You get the point. It's imagine as we design wings, we design wings with more like a kite spirit versus, if I can say it so, like a sail. So the RS is a wing that naturally will go into the wind and forwards.
So you catch more wind by having this position as well.
You actually let your wing breathe, I would say. Wind, yeah. And then you can keep your ergonomy, the right position, kind of like more windsurfing. You would have a very straight back. And so the wing goes up and you don't hurt yourself, and you can keep on riding for hours and hours. So that's one amazing feature.
Is this out, or is this coming out? Or?
It's on the market. Okay. It's available now. So in two colors only. So the sharp red and white. You have interesting features such as the buttons.
Yeah,
you've got buttons in the ears.
Yes, so keeping the rigidity all the way out to the
exactly.
Tips, yep.
The point is to have your wing working more with this area, so when you get overpowered, you won't have your ears twisting so much, and so it will work very much like a sail. And what's very interesting is the way, there is those terms that we talk about internally in sailing and so on. There is the intradow and the extradow. The intradow will give me power, but then this power will somehow make me saturate in speed, and I will accelerate, and I will get also stability with the white equation that I've got on the extradow. So yeah, there you are, the RS, and we have another one which is called the Tangi, which is a complementary wing that will be on the market in a few weeks.
So tell me about this crazy beast right here. This is exciting stuff.
Big time. So here what we have, we have the Efoil, We worked for years now. Whoops. Oh, we worked for
We
years
are in
now.
Hood River, yeah, right.
It's good. The wind's switching and we'll get in the water.
Yep.
Not expected.
Yep.
So here we have what's called, some people will call it a jet, which is otherwise called an impaler. So in this case, what you have, you don't have the prop, which being, it's not, well, if you know what you're doing, then it's fine. But let's say, well,
It's obviously far safer, you know?
it's all about the security. Yeah, it's definitely that. Like the Efoil is a product which is meant to be very accessible to everyone. People like you and I who practice the sport, but also people who are not used to
I
our
think
sport,
of it
right?
like crack to get people hooked on the drug of foiling. You know?
said it yourself.
You know, it just gets people hooked, right?
It is the point. And then also the interesting thing with the jet, the impaler, so in terms of like, I'm not gonna put my tippy toes or my fingers in it and have any injury and so on. I can get my kids out and I'm fine with it, no worry on that. And it also offers you a great glide since you don't have the wider diameter that will come from a propeller that creates more drag. So pretty much in a place like here, I'll be able to go upwind, well, on the regular wind that we have now in the west, upwind, turn around the swell, just let go the power and you still glide.
Nice.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Great
yeah,
product.
I can see you've got a little aerodynamic nose to it as well. And then the standard Takuma wings work with it. So fantastic. Yeah.
It comes with the right wing, so you'll have like you'll have a wider wing for the delivered with the products, and then you can adapt any kind of foil to the products. Like any kind of foil that you use for winging, front foiling, you'll be able to adapt them. And that's this thing that I'll come back to what we said I think earlier. Takuma will really focus on the foil. And we designed foils and then we brought a machine up to it and not the other way around. So we really want people to have the most accessible products, but we are focusing on, we want them to feel the foil.
So this is a high volume board though. I mean, so do these come in different sizes, or because it's a great way to introduce people to foiling at this size? But do you have it in another size as well, or is this the one size it comes in?
We have two sizes. This one, which is 150 liter so it's a 30 inches wide board. It's a flotation device.
Right.
Everyone will be able to go on the
Day
water.
one, yep.
Safe. First session, you'll be able to fly on your knees or standing up. So that's one thing. With one kind of mast, this one is a 50 centimeters mast length, 50 plus 20. And then, so that's the cruising. And then we have the carver, which comes with jet or with a propeller as well, which has a longer mast and a smaller board that will just like for more advanced people.
And what's the volume on that?
It's 120 liters.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Awesome. And then what do you have here in your hands?
Okay, this precious little baby, that's the Morning Sun board. Well, we all have in the industry some very interesting, like all brands we've been developing great shapes. So the shape is quite amazing. It comes in 30 liters, 35 and 40. But then there is this very interesting topic part in terms of construction. We brought the pre-preg carbon.
Oh, wow.
And very specific core. Basically the core has closed cells. So you'll take a machete, you piece with me, and you take a machete, you break the board, you can stick it for 3 weeks under the water, it won't take a drop of water.
Wow.
So that's very interesting in terms of durability. Pre-preg allow you to have an extreme rigidity. And to finalize it, we brought carbon US boxes. So when you make the boards, well, the boxes won't move an inch or anything, and you have just the stiffest products ever.
Yeah, wow.
For front foiling, wake foiling, and rock and roll guys on the wing machines.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thank you, Sylvan. That was, oh, wait a minute. Are you allowed to talk about the new product that may be coming out? Can we talk about this?
We can talk about it quickly.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
So here, so we did a first presentation to the public in France this Monday on the yacht on the boat show in Cannes. Here in Hood River, we didn't bring the machine.
So what's the machine?
Well, the machine is basically, imagine that you and I, we best buddies, that we are obviously, and then we share towing. So we'll be here in the river or you'll be in whatever, like on the ocean or so on. So you'll use a jet. So I'll pilot the jets, you the rider. Well, guess what? Let's imagine that I got trouble with my lady and I have to do the dishes, so I have to take care of the kids or so on. She's like, damn, Sylvan, I still need to go in water. And like, hang on a second. I go to my garage and I go pick up my eTow. The eTow is...
the eTow.
So yes, sir. Electric, so compatible with the batteries we have with the Takuma Efoil. So those batteries you got here, you can put it in the eTow. It's a product that you'll use a remote control to control it. You can also use your direction, such as The eTow is in front of you, you hold the rope, I go
Pull
right,
out and it turns
it goes
the other
left,
way, yeah.
and vice versa. I stay behind, it goes straight.
So you don't need any friends. It's a self-towing device.
It's actually become your best friend.
That's right. There you go. That's
So
it.
you'll meet your other friends in the bar to have some beers after.
Yeah.
So this is coming on the market December, and actually we'll do the very first release in the USA next month in Fort Lauderdale Boat Show. That's going to be part of revolution that we have in this incredible world of foiling. And yeah, it's just to have some more fun and obviously spend more time in the water.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sylvan. Very nice meeting you. Absolutely.
My pleasure. Thanks a lot.